Hello, this is Rob Mueller, Technical Support Engineer at QA Systems, the software quality company. Today, I would like to share with you how to integrate a Cantata test case, whether it be a unit test with code coverage, program integration testing, or robustness testing, into a build automation server and continuous development and testing environment like Jenkins. There are two videos in this series. In addition to these two videos, please also reference the tech note on the topic of Jenkins integration found in the resources section of the QA Systems website. Today, in part 1, we will focus on using the Cantata plugin for Jenkins to configure an existing Cantata test case as a Freestyle project and test automation step in Jenkins. We will go over configuration options for the test case, visibility of test case sandbox test results inside of Jenkins, as well as build history trend lines and build console output for further analysis. In the second part, which is in a separate video, we will then look at a complete automated testing pipeline using a Jenkins pipeline project and taking advantage of multiple stages in a Groovy-based pipeline script to go from repository checkout of a software under test, SUT, all the way to pushing results to Cantata team reporting and checking the SUT project and test results back into a Git repository after test completion. In the second video, we will not just look at Jenkins pipeline scripting using Groovy and Bash, but we'll also go into the command line use of Cantata in this context, as an alternative to using a pre-existing Cantata workspace. Before I delve too deeply into this, let us however start with a simple temperature monitor test case as an existing Cantata reference workspace. We assume that you have Jenkins installed and ready to go. If you haven't, Jenkins can be downloaded from jenkins.io/download. You will want to ensure that on the build automation server you have root access so you can administer a simple Jenkins user who will be the main owner of the build automation process. Jenkins uses strict certificate management for access control and plugin as well as update handling from the Jenkins repository. This happens pretty much organically if you have Jenkins running on a Linux machine, but may require some manual configuration if you run Jenkins on a Windows build server. In my demo setup, I have Jenkins running on Linux, specifically on Ubuntu 18.04, and I created a Cantata demo workspace first as an individual user with sudo access rights, and then reassigned ownership to the Jenkins user account for automation purposes. Let us briefly start Cantata with a temperature monitor demo SUT in the Cantata test workspace as user Jenkins to get started. The SUT consists of a simple if-then-else construct that governs responses to a temperature exceeding certain threshold values that are set in an associated header file. In the test script, we have a series of stubs for temperature check, cool sequence initialization check, and critical shutdown sequence threshold check with test case instances. In addition, we have call entry and call return, as well as statement coverage set to 100%. This is the Cantata test workspace we are going to integrate with Jenkins using a Freestyle project. To do this, first we will open Jenkins dashboard at localhost port 8080. There we will ensure the Cantata plugin for Jenkins is installed via Manage Jenkins System Configuration and Manage Plugins. By entering Cantata in the search window, we can then see the plugin itself, as well as other plugins it depends on. Structs.hpi is the only dependency. It is needed for Cantata to be able to access Jenkins object names and be able to export things like Cantata build numbers to Cantata for team reporting and other purposes. The Cantata plugin can be installed fresh by going to the Advanced tab and selecting Upload Plugin. Once the Cantata plugin is successfully installed, we can create our project with Cantata-specific configuration. From the dashboard, go to New Item and select Creation of a Freestyle project. If we now have a look at our new Freestyle project, you will notice the following available configuration options. Under Build Environment, there is now a new radio button called Cantata. The main items to set are the Cantata license configuration, the path to the Cantata executable, and the setting of the Cantata server URL for team reporting if desired. In the Build section, you can then set a specific Cantata test project directory relative to the Jenkins top-level workspace and what you want to do with the Cantata test. In our example, we will just execute the test case as well as direct all the output to the Jenkins console as part of a Jenkins build. After done with testing, in the Build section, you can then set the specific Cantata test project directory relative to the Jenkins top-level workspace and what you want to do with the Cantata test. In our example, we will just execute the test case as well as direct all the output to the Jenkins console as part of a Jenkins build. After done with the test, I always like to remove any binaries, object files, and other artifacts unnecessary for archiving test results and codebase. You can of course add as many additional build steps to the Jenkins project as you would like to. Now let us perform the actual test from the Jenkins dashboard. Let us select the Cantata test project and select Build Now. After a successful build, you will see the build statistics. In this case, the last build was 28 seconds ago, and we are on the 52nd build. The last failed build was 6 days ago. You can open the test results from the workspace. In addition, you can look at the successful or failed build output in the console. And you can also look at the Jenkins build history and trend lines. In short, your Cantata unit test and integration tests are fully managed by Jenkins as a project and can thus become part of a continuous automated project build and test flow. To look at how Cantata fits into such an end-to-end flow, let us use the example of a Jenkins pipeline project in our next video titled Cantata Jenkins Pipeline Project Integration. Thank you so much for your attention and for joining us today. Goodbye.